All right, what's up, guys? VV back with another video. And in today's video, guys, as you can see on the screen here, front and center, we got Blurple Reiju. And for today's video, we're actually going to be exploring a different way to build Reiju. I have messed around in the past with different versions of Reiju because I love how the effect, the leader's effect, is very universal. It's very generic. You can do whatever you want with it, as long as you meet the clause of returning one Dawn per turn. With the from your field to the Dawn deck, you're drawing an extra card. So we're going to be messing around with a different version of Reiju today. I would consider it a Animal Kingdom Pirates version of Reiju. So that should be a lot of fun. We'll check that out when we get to it. Okay, but let me give you guys a quick rundown of the video. Tell you what we're getting into. Tell you what we're going to be getting into. First up, we have the VV Lab, which will be Vega versus Red Purple Luffy. Okay, that should be very interesting. Next up, we'll discuss the topic of the day, which is removal on bodies versus removal on events, or however you'd say that, and the balance in between them, and potential problems that I could see coming up in the future by putting too much removal on bodies. There will become a discussion of, well, then why even run events unless they do something so crazy more than that. We'll talk about that as we get into it. After that, we're going to head over to the sim. Excuse me. We'll have 5 games of Reiju to go over on the sim. That should be a lot of fun. And then we'll finish up with the deck list, and I'll give you guys my final thoughts. We'll wrap it up in that way. All right, guys, so you know what we're getting into. Let's go ahead and get into this. Let's dive into it. I'll have everything time-stamped in the general description, all relevant deck lists, and links down in the comment section below. Okay, you guys know the drill by now, I'm sure. But if there are any new listeners out there listening, right now we're going to head over to the VV Lab, and you might be asking yourself, well, what is that? So at the beginning of each one of my videos, I try to have this portion known as the VV Lab, or this segment known as the VV Lab, where it is a community-submitted game that I go over, I review it, and I give just some advice if there's any kind of misplays or anything like that. It's really meant to just be a free miniature coaching session for players who want me to review their games. So if you're a newer player, intermediate, expert, whatever, if you want me to review your game, it's very easy to do. It's basically like a 3-step process. You record the game you want me to review, you upload it to YouTube, and then you hop on the VV Theory Discord, and the link is in the channel description. Hop over to the VV Theory Discord, and I have a channel called Review My Game. And you post it in there, post the link to the YouTube video in there. And as soon as I see it, guys, I give you the thumbs up emoji, and whenever it's your turn in line, you get thrown in line, and whenever it's your turn, you're up. Okay, very easy. If you have any questions on that, don't hesitate to ask. All right, now, let's hop into this first game here. We got a game of Vegapunk versus Red Purple Luffy. So the volume is off. Speed is on 2x. Quality is up as high as it will go. And let's do this, guys. Let's get into it. So let's see who gets to go first here. It looks like the Vegapunk is going to choose to go first. They won the dice roll, and they chose to go first. And here we go. We got a pretty good start to the game. Real quick, for any of the newer players out there, what does Vegapunk do? He can play out a 5-cost or lower card. Let me see if I say this correctly. Vegapunk is a 5,000 power, 2-life leader. Okay, only 2 life, and it cannot attack. Vegapunk, he cannot attack. Like, the leader cannot attack. But he has a very powerful effect. For 1 Dawn, you can play out a 5-cost card, egghead card, from your hand to the top of your life, or put it into play. So very, very powerful. We played out a 5-cost character on turn 1 going first. So that's a 1-cost, 6,000 power, 1 can counter on the board pretty much. Okay, so very, very good stuff here. Good start to the game. The Luffy player is going to play out 2 Namis. He gets a Radical Beam and a Franosuke, so a 2k counter. Okay, so Rad Beam and 2k counter, they have a very defensive hand already. Okay, looks like we're going to attack with Luffy. I absolutely agree with that. Swinging for 8, very nice. So then we'll have 1 Dawn left to use the leader effect. Let's see what we choose to do with it. Okay, pause. So first thing that I would do differently here, and I don't think this is a play mistake, by the way, but there's one thing that I would do differently. I would have played out the Atlas from my hand. We're at 2 life. We're not really at jeopardy. We're not at jeopardy of losing next turn. It's pretty much impossible, right? So I would just play out the 1 life. Or, excuse me, I would just pay the 1 Dawn and play out the Atlas instead of gaining a card to life like the Robin. Especially right now, we have a rested character on the board. They may choose to attack into that. We'll have to see what happens. So that's the one thing I would do differently right away. Okay, looks like we're mousing over this. We don't want to trash this yet, guys. For those who are not aware, that 5-cost 6k rested Luffy on the board, he has an activate main. If you have 2 or less life cards, if you have 2 or less life cards, KO a 4 or less and draw a card. Well, we don't have 2 or less life. So we can still KO our character, but we will not get to use the activate main's full effect. We don't want to do that. Many people have made that mistake before. I've made the mistake as well. They're going to load up for 10. Yep, smashing into our Luffy, and that guy's out of here. We can't defend that. We didn't have any counter power in hand. We had 1k counter in hand. Okay, and that's what... Oh, okay, wow, okay. This is another reason why I would have played out the 5-cost 6k Atlas to the board. We had a rested character. Let them attack into it. That's fine, because it works as a blocker, and we got to get an attack in with it. That's actually fine. We would have 2 life still, though. If we'd played out the Atlas, we'd have 2 life, and then our ace would have rush. For those who are not aware, the ace here on the board is a 5-cost, 7,000 power character. It doesn't have rush. It has an on play that says if you have 2 or less life, he gains rush. So that is something to consider. Okay, so we are not going to get an extra attack in because of that, but that's okay. It actually would have been 2 extra attacks, right? 1 from Atlas, 1 from the ace. They attack in for 8. We do a draw 2 effect with the Nico Robin. That's what the trigger is on Nico Robin. That's why the Vega player said it there. All right, very good. So right now we have 7 Dawn for the turn. Let's see what we choose to do with it. We actually have a lot of options. That S-Snake, I really like S-Snake. Okay, so we're very defensive playstyle. I have to say, guys, I see a lot of people doing this. We are not at jeopardy of losing the game anytime soon. I mean, I guess, I don't know. Like, let me pause it. If somehow, this is the only way we could have lost this game right here. If somehow, with 8, I think they have, what is that, 9 Dawn? They can attach 1 Dawn to Zoro, swing for 5. They still have 8 Dawn because they'd gain a Dawn from the Zoro's effect. And then I guess if they did 3, 6, 8, so they could swing 5, swing 8 or something if they were trying to go for lethal. But that's not considered a good play this early on, and it's not something that an opponent would typically do. So instead of trying to gain life here and telegraphing you have no counter, because in my mind it kind of telegraphs like, wait, are you saying you have no counter power? Like, why are you playing so defensively? I would just play the character out because I want them to attack into my life, right? Like, me personally, I want them to attack into my life. I want to go down in life and get all those very powerful trigger effects that we put into the deck. So that's just one thing that I would have done a little bit differently there. But not a big deal. But one thing we could have done if we did not put the Atlas into life is we could have put it on the board, right? And then let them attack into us. We'll go down to 1 life. And then if they attack it again with their Luffy, fine. We'll go down to 0 and gain a life next turn. You know what I mean? It's not a big deal. Okay, so they did attack. We gained the life from the Atlas. Now they're going to swing it for 7. I think we should take this. We actually have to take it. We don't have an option. Actually, no, we do have a counter in hand, but I think we should take it. Very nice, and we get a Frankie. See, now this is what the deck is supposed to do. It's supposed to take hits early on and sit around the 1 to 2 life range to get full value from cards like Frankie. Okay, he's at 7,000 power. That's very annoying. Yep, so we smash in for 7. Now, one thing we do have to be careful of here. All right, nice, swing 6 into the 4, that's fine. One thing we have to be very, very careful of here is they could have the 10-cost Luffy. If they play out the 10-cost Luffy here, okay, very nice, popping the 7-cost character, because, hey, if they have 10-cost Luffy, this is not good, guys. This is not good if they have 10-cost Luffy. I think we shouldn't have attacked there. Okay, so hear me out real quick. Pause. I think we could have played this a little bit safer. Let's see. They're probably going to play out the Lilith or the... let me see what they play out real quick. They play out... See, that's what I'd have done differently. I would have kept that card in my hand, and instead of us swinging 6 into the 4, into the Zoro, I think we should have swung some 5s into the 4 first, because we had 2. We had 2 5k attacks to attack into the Zoro with. Then we could have done the 6 if all else failed. But then, if we had done it this way, if we'd swung 5 into the Zoro, and 5 into the Zoro, and it goes away, we have a 6k attack to go into the face of the opponent with Atlas, and of course we have the 5-cost 7k ace going in, right? We can still use the Reiju to pop their character, gain a life with the Vegapunk's effect, not this event though. Keep 1 Dawn active for this event in case they try something crazy on the next turn. And the card that I would have developed actually would have been the Lilith. Okay, we'll see what happens here. Yeah, because so for those who are not aware, the card on the top of the life of the Vega player, it's called I Requesar Help or Please Save Me is what it's called on the sim. I think it's called I Requesar Help is the real text on it, and it's basically a counter for plus 3k, or the trigger can play a 5-cost or lower Egghead character from your trash. I think it's Egghead character. I don't think it's any character. Okay. So they did attack into our ace, and that card is gone now, and we could have actually saved that. Let me see something real quick. How much was that attack for? Whoops. So they swung 11 into 7. Okay, it probably wouldn't have been worth saving even still. Like, I think we could have gone the event plus the Luffy plus the S Snake. I don't think that would have been worth it. So I still would have let that go. I think that's a good idea. Good call. Okay, so now it's our turn. They only developed a queen this turn, so we're actually doing pretty well. I do think we need to start gaining life pretty consistently here, though, because you guys know how the 10 cost Luffy is. 10 cost Luffy can steal a game from you really quickly. Okay, very nice. Very nice play there. Did you guys see that? Watch this. So we chose to gain a life first with a 10 Dawn turn. We gain a life, which was the Lilith, I believe. Was it Lilith or was it? Okay, yeah, it was Lilith. Now we have 5 life if you combine the Vegapunk plus the red purple Luffy, and we popped the 5 cost queen with the Yamato and developed a big body. Really nice. Okay, gonna go 6 into 6 here. Unfortunately, our Atlas effect will not work. We're just gonna lose it. But okay, 1K counter, very nice. I would have countered out with the Luffy, by the way. That is one difference there. I actually prefer the S Snake's effect over the Luffy's currently, even though Luffy can draw a card potentially. Okay. Especially against red purple Luffy, they do have a lot of 5 and 6 cost characters, which I think it hits a 6 or less. But we'd be able to hit like the Sanji that they run, the 6 cost 2K counter Sanji blocker, or the 5 cost 6K queen, stuff like that. And it kind of messes up their 10 Dawn turn with the or their 10 cost play with red purple Luffy, the 10 cost time warp Luffy. Wow. Okay, interesting. So we just straight up swung for 15K there. And now we're going to develop another life. So I have to ask a question here because I'm just really confused. In this situation right here, let me go back one more. Why wouldn't we just attack like 4 times across the board here? Or, well, 3. We can't attack with the leader. The leader cannot attack. But why wouldn't we swing for like even like 7, 7, 7? Just all 7s? And if he gets greedy, load up everything on the final attack if he has no 2K counters. Like, say if he takes a 7, then load everything else on Frankie and just on the final character and go at it that way. But only swinging one time trying to force it through, I guess that's good that we get a life card off of him. But at the same time, I feel like we could have got so many cards out of our opponent's hand here. And that's usually what I'm trying to play for. Like, let's get all the cards out of their hand. So... okay, so they did take that big 15K hit, and we're going to gain a life. Let's see what we choose. I think they chose the Atlas before we went backwards. Okay, 12 into 6, they can have that. There was no way we could save that, but not a big deal. Wait, how did they get rid of Yamato? Oh, the 10 cost Shanks, of course. Okay. Okay, so Nami searches up a Sanji, just like we were saying, the 2K counter blocker Sanji. And then we get the attack in, we get the Atlas to the board, and as long as we gain 1 life every turn, we're going to be okay. But the card that we really need right now, that I don't know where it is, it's just hiding from us right now, is we really need the Shaka card. It's a 5 cost card. It's called Shaka. It's a blocker. Okay, he just smashed in for. Hang on a second. What just happened there? So we're going to load up for 4, swing for 10 into 6. That's going to be a Rad Beam plus a 2K counter. Okay. Again, I think I would just be smashing in with these little 6K attacks. Just smash for 6, smash for 7, smash for 8, stuff like that. And then we could play out all these other cards. Smash for 7. I like that. And look at that. That one went through. Like, that one went through, as funny as it is. So we're going to ramp a life card, I think. Another option we had for this turn was just play out the ace. Just play out a 10 cost ace. Gain a life, we have a 10K on the board, and we basically would be daring them to play out the 10 cost time warp Luffy. Okay, 9 into 5, gonna let that go, that's fine. Play out another Sanji. Wow, they're going very defensive here. They're going very defensive. Again, I don't think it's actually a bad call to play out the 10 cost ace here. I don't think that's unheard of. So we're gonna gain a life first. Play out the, maybe just play out the Luffy. Okay, playing out the Luffy and the Frankie. Okay, very interesting. Very interesting. My question is the red-purple Luffy player even playing the 10 cost Luffy? And okay, they just swung for 6. Okay, they just did a standard 6K attack. So I'm assuming they're going to play out. It would not make sense for them to play out a 9-cost Newgate since they attacked first. They're swinging for 12. Okay, here we go. Yeah, maybe pop a... Actually, I would probably just save the 1K counter, to be honest. Okay. Let's see what happens next. Just waiting on our opponent right here, guys. Dragon. Wow. Okay. I was gonna say I'm surprised if they're even playing red purple Luffy with this much top end, because getting rid of all this top end seems crazy to me. And you got 2 really strong blockers. Man, look at this board, guys. I'd be swinging 6s and 7s right across the board. All 6s, all 7s, gain a life, and go about things that way. Actually, we have an ace in hand. We have an ace in hand, guys. Okay, swing for 6. I like it. We are just destroying their hand right now, guys. Swing for 6 more. I love that. They gave us a Rad Beam for a 6K attack, guys. Rad Beam. Okay, so you know what that means, right? They don't have any more counter. 6K into 6. They give us a Rad Beam. All right, GG. Drop down the ace. Swing for 8. You have 6 Dawn left, so swing for 8. What happened? What just happened? Oh, the Luffy. They use Luffy to pop the 1-cost character to draw a card. What just happened? Wait a minute. We gained a life, and now our ace doesn't have rush. Oh, my goodness gracious, guys. I'm telling you right now, if they... Are we going to lose this game? Hang on a minute. All right, they're playing on the phone. They're busting out the keyboard. They said, oops. Oopsies. Yeah, because I would have just swung in for 8. There's no way they're giving you 2K counter, or Rad Beams like that to get out. Like if they had counter in hand. So we get the Shaka. We will at least get to play that down. Swing in for 12. Block with it. Now when we take a hit, we'll bring back the Shaka with the event on top of our life. And we're actually fine. The game's over. Okay, I think it is. We'll have to see, guys. We'll have to see. I think it's over. Just judging by what I know about the game. Now they can... We just have to block the first attack that goes through in case they have a what's it called? Diable Jambe. So you want to block this one. So that way in case... Well, they have no Dawn left anyway. Excuse me. They have no Dawn left anyway. Doesn't matter. Okay, so here we go. Smash in for 6s and 7s and 8s and stuff, and they just can't get out of this. Because they only have 4 cards in hand. We could swing for... I mean, honestly, we could just go 7, 7, 7, 7, or just go everything on one character. Okay, here we go. Yeah, 0 counter power in hand. That was a really good game. One thing I do want to mention in the very beginning here is I think this is the one spot here where we were definitely not on the same page. Not in a bad way. I just would have done things differently, and I would have played so much more aggressive. So playing this card out first, loved it. Absolutely loved that. Swing for 8. And then right here, I would have developed the Atlas. I would not have gained a life, developed the Atlas, because he's going to attack into your character anyway, right? Doesn't he? Yeah, he attacks into the character, and now they did absolutely nothing that turn. That was their entire turn. Now it's our turn again. We play out the ace here. Now, because we gained a life, we don't even get rushed with the ace. We could have swung for 6 with Atlas's turn and 7 with ace and put insane pressure on our opponent. And what's the worst case scenario? They start attacking into our board. You can have it. We're going to gain life over the turn, or excuse me, over the game and do things that way. So that was the one major thing I wanted to say. But other than that, really, really good game. All right, now let's go ahead and hop over to discuss the topic of the day, guys. Give me just a second to get set up. Okay. Got to move my head down here. There we go. All right. Here we go, guys. We got to talk about some stuff here. Actually, I think we should talk about something else first other than this. Let me try to... This camera's so hard to deal with. It tries to lock to other squares that I have loaded in. Okay, that's good enough for now. All right, so guys, topic of the day. How to balance removal on events versus on bodies. So the idea... We're going to come back to this screen in a minute that you see in the background here. But I think the general idea is, why would you run... Here's the question I'm going to ask. I guess maybe this should have been the topic of the day. If an equivalent version of removal exists on a body, why would I run it as an event? Do you guys see what I'm saying? So in other words, if there's a 3-cost card that pops a 1 or less, why would I ever run it over a 3-cost Brook that pops a 1 or less and has the one attacking to do it, and has the 1K counter, and it's a body and all that stuff, and it's recyclable with Rebecca? It goes on, right? And that's kind of one thing that I really want to mention. I added these 2 cards to the deck. We'll talk about this in a second. This is not a real list. Well, this was a real list, but you got to get rid of the Hound Blaze here and the Meteor Volcano. This was just a list that just did very well recently. I just copied it off of OnePieceTopDecks.com. But notice this, guys. This is Lucci. This deck is known for running straight removal, right? It runs nothing but removal. But can you guys show me any event removal in this deck? The answer is no, you can't, right? Like, this isn't removal. Like, we're not talking about triggers. We're talking about event removal like this. Like an event that says main KO a 1 or less character. Or, let me bring up some other, give me just a second. Like, for example, they're not running Destructive Sword of Thunder. And if you might be thinking, like, well, yeah, why would they run that? They can't search it up with their Spandams, right? Well, there's also this card right here, guys. And get this. Bodies are so relevant in this game. Okay, hang on. We have so much to talk about, guys, with this topic. It's really going to be able to break into 3 areas. Number 1 is what I said. Why would you run a event in this game that has removal if there's a body that does it just as well or almost as well? Number 2, should cost reduction be in the game at all? Because, notice this, guys. This card right here on the screen, the Shigan Finger Pistol, it's a 4 cost that pops a 5 or less. And people will never run that over something like this if they have the option. Because not only is this a 4 cost 6K body, but it can pop up to 2 characters, right? So there becomes, even within the same deck, like you'd think, like, okay, well, I'm sure, you know, the deck will run Rob Lucci plus Shigan Finger Pistol. It's like, no, they don't need to, because instead they'll run these. So one thing we do have to really consider going forward in the future of One Piece, hopefully Bandai's doing it. It's nothing we can do, right? There's nothing we can do as just standard players and just your average everyday player, you know, TCG enjoyer. I really have to wonder, is cost reduction good for the game? Because honestly, if this card said, if this card did exactly what's printed on the card and you could not reduce cost, you'd only run like maybe two or three of these in your deck, more than likely, if that, right? But because of the fact you can run something like an Ice Age or a Tempest Kick, it gets out of control. Now, I understand what people are going to say right away, like, yeah, but there are leaders with cost reduction. Okay, well, maybe that should be the only form of cost reduction that should exist, right? Maybe something on a leader. And I understand it's way too late to change things, guys. Please, let's not get the wrong interpretation. We're just trying to brainstorm. We're trying to theory craft what would have been the most balanced thing for this game. And hey, maybe even something like this. Like something like this I could see existing and being fine for cost reduction. But cost reduction built into an event where I can just on call whenever I need it, boom, cost reduction. Right? Just boom. I need it right here, so now I can pop a 7 or less with this 4 cost character. Right? This 4 cost 6K character, I can just hit him with a Ice Age, and then I can pop a 7 or less with this effect, or a 2 and a 6 or something, whatever you need to do. So that is something we really have to consider. I'm going to be a little bit all over the place today, guys, so bear with me. But there are some topics I really want to discuss. Like I said, is there a point in even running event removal if you have something equivalent or close to it in a bodily form, right? In the form of a character. Now, some people might be thinking like, well, hey, Blackbeard runs 4 Shigan Finger Pistols and 2 Liberations, or whatever this card's technically called. It's like, yeah, but you have to remember, Blackbeard, you cannot use that as an example because he doesn't allow for on-play effects. If Blackbeard could run a Brook or a Rob Lucci in the place of those cards, I'm pretty sure it would, okay? Because you just need to be able to pop a 4 or less character. That was the main idea with it, is you're trying to pop the 4 or less characters for like Doflamingo and stuff like that. It was a very specific tech card, and yes, you could use it for other things. I get it. I'm just saying it had a very specific usage in the deck, and this even fills up your top 2 cards. But hey, guys, if this card's so good, why aren't we running it in a deck like this? And there's an answer to that, right? Like there's actually, it's not hard to figure out. The answer is, why would I run removal in an event if I can run equivalent removal on a body, right? So that's the first thing I want to talk about, some idea for y'all to kind of brainstorm and tell me about in the comment section below. The next thing is this, excuse me, cost reduction. Is it healthy for the game? Let's be honest. And I'm not talking about all forms of cost reduction. Like I said, maybe cost reduction on a leader where it's like, okay, I can swing and do -1 cost. And like Smoker does -1 cost, Isho does it, and then like on a character like Isho, or even a character like Kuzan. Well, actually both of them, yeah. Like I think if it's on a character where it's not like an instant cast thing, it's something you have to set up, and therefore it's something your opponent can try to play around. I actually think it'd be very healthy for the game. But when it's on an event like this, it gets a little scary, guys. It does get a little bit scary, to be honest. Where it's like, well, wait a minute. If I play out a character, let's say I play out a 10 cost character. Okay, well, they can just go Ice Age, Gecko Moria. Gecko Moria brings back Helmeppo plus, where is it? Rob Lucci. So, boom, now they can pop like I don't know, maybe that wasn't the right, what was the math on that? 5 plus 3, yeah, pop a 2, yeah. So there you go. So with just an Ice Age and then a Gecko Moria interaction, we're popping a 10 cost character, and we're not just developing a 10 cost character, or excuse me, we're not just popping a 10 cost character in that situation. We're getting 3 bodies on the board. So, and again, I'm not trying to complain, but we're trying to think, we're trying to think outside the box right now, guys. We're trying to, like, really analyze the situation. And I will say this right away. I do think cost reduction on bodies is okay. On play is a little bit scary, but at the same time, I think it's probably, again, I think it's at least justifiable on a character. However, here's one thing I do want to say, is I think that the removal in this game should have been largely restricted to events only. Why do I say that? Why would I say something like that? Because now, first of all, we know that's a good route to take based on other games. For example, in I have to always use Magic the Gathering, guys, because it's my roots. That's where I come from with TCGs. In Magic the Gathering, and I've made this example a few times, so I understand if it sounds like I'm being repetitive, but bear with me for any of the new listeners, or any of the new listeners that if we have any new listeners, I have no idea how to check that. I'll have to try to see how that works. But when it comes to, like, Magic the Gathering, removal in that game is basically instants and sorceries. So think of them as events, okay? So in Magic the Gathering, most of your removal looks like this. It's an event, or something like Shigan Finger Pistol, where you pop something as an instant or a sorcery. And then your characters in that game, they're called creatures. But your characters in that game, they're typically just something along the lines of, I mean, there's a million different characters, right? But what I'm trying to say is, it's like going to draw you a card or do some effects. Like, it's going to have some type of onboard effect, but it's very rare for a Magic the Gathering card, a character card, a creature in that game, to have removal built in as well. Like, for example, like with Lucci. Unless you get into the top end of the cards, where it's something like a Kaido, where it's just this, like, really big 9-cost. A 9-cost character in Magic is a huge card, right, guys? That's like, I think it's like Ionia was one of them. Ionia, is that what it was named? I can't remember. But there were some really big cards in that game, and then it makes sense for it to pop a character. It's like, okay, I'm developing my whole turn around this one card. It's got to do something, or there's no reason to run it. I can't survive on the crackback or whatever. So I get having removal on a large body like Kaido, but having it on the smaller bodies like Lucci or Brook, I think it gets a little bit dangerous for the game. It starts making it muddies the water a little bit for design principles, where it's like, well, wait a minute. What happens if they recycle their cards? What happens if they get their cards back with recursion effects with something like Gecko Moria or Rebecca? That's where it gets a little bit complicated, right? It kind of, like I said, it kind of muddies up the waters in the balance area, where it's like, well, how am I supposed to build really interesting new cards in the future if at any time they can just play this card and, like, get double the effect of whatever the card might be? Cards like Gecko Moria is what I was saying, to double the effect. What else was I going to say? I think an example of a very strong character, like, removal design, number one is Kaido, like I said. If it's a large character, let's just get this out of the way, guys. If it's like a 9-cost character, like Stussy, Kaido, where's what's-his-name? Mihawk. If it's like a huge character, it makes sense to have removal on that character, because you're developing a boss character that comes into play and deals with one of your opponent's characters, like, on the spot. That, I think, is, like, really good design. I think that's, like, a really cool thing. But another really good design, in my opinion, for removal would be something like this Kobe. Notice how small this character is. You're paying 4 Dawn for a 1,000 power character, has a 1k counter, so it at least has some utility, but then activate main, rest this character to do the KO effect. I think this is like an absolutely perfectly balanced card, and that's probably why it doesn't see play, right? Let's just be fair. That's why it doesn't see play, because there are other cards in the format like, hey, look, 4 cost to pop a 2 or less, 4 cost to pop a 2 cost and a 1 cost. Okay, well, this one's a 1,000 power character. What's the other one? 6,000 power. You see what I'm saying? Where it's just like, wait, what? And for anyone who might be thinking like, yeah, but you can use this card every single turn. Yeah, you can use this card every single turn too, trust me. There's this card called Rebecca, this card called Gecko. You can just keep reusing it over and over and over again. And it's a 4-cost 6k body. The only downside to this card versus the Kobe is this doesn't have a counter. But yeah, I guess, hey, I'll tell you what, I'll give it my 1,000 power counter for 5,000 attack power. And my effect is an on-play. It's just, And by the way, guys, you do have to rest this card down to do the effect. So you're going to rest this guy down to get the effect off, and then they're going to swing into it with a searcher, and it's gone. And I think that's good. I think that's a very balanced design. But with Brook, for example, this card I think was almost balanced. But consider this, like we were just saying with the Kobe we just saw. This is a 3-cost, 4,000 power character that has a when attacking and on play to KO a, let's just call it a 1 or less. I know it's a little more technical, but let's just call it a 1 or less. Well, Kobe's a 4-cost 1,000 power 1K counter that has an activate main to pop a 2 or less. It's almost like, well, they're not even in the same ballpark. And then let's not even talk about the synergy with Rebecca and Brooke. But it's just not even in the same ballpark. So I do want to try to summarize. I don't want to, go on and on about this for too long. But I just want to say this. I'm not trying to complain. I think the game's in a pretty decent spot. But I think it's very dangerous what Bandai or Cardass is doing, the people that developed the game, by printing so much removal on bodies. Because, like, look at the list we're looking at right now. Look at all this body removal, guys. I mean, Brooke has removal. Rob Lucci has removal. The other Brooke has removal. This Luffy has removal. Kaido removal. Jack has removal. I don't even know if I want to talk about. I might save this for its own topic, guys. I might save this for its own topic of the day in the future. Even this 2K counter has removal built in, right? And same thing with, like, I was at T-Bone. Whoop. I can't even spell right now. There we go. Yeah, my microphone's like right where I need to type at, so it's kind of hard to type at an angle like that. But T-Bone, like this is removal built into characters, built into 2K counters. And here's the thing. I don't think this would be bad if cards like this did not exist to reduce cost of characters. Because one other thing, we do have to hark back to Magic for just a little bit longer. Unless something has changed recently, in that game, there used to be this thing called converted mana cost. I think it's just called mana value now. You notice how Rob Lucci costs 4, right? Well, in Magic, he would have a converted mana value or a mana value of 4. So that's what it costs is 4. That's its value, right? Well, in Magic the Gathering, again, unless something has changed, there was no cost reduction or no value reduction, it would be called in that game. Unless something has come up very recently. And that actually worked out to balance the game, right? Where it's like, okay, well, I can only hit certain mana value cards with, I think there was a card called Inquisition of Kozilek, where it could only snag like 3 cost or lower cards or something like that. I can't remember exactly, but my point is, if you get rid of cost reduction, then all of a sudden I think it's okay to have these characters with all the removal, right? Because even if they are recyclable, okay, if I can only pop a 2 or less, that's like nothing. You know what I mean? Sure, yeah, pop my 2-cost Searcher or something. Yeah, then it's fine. It's still a good card because it's clearing up the field, but it's not nearly as impactful as what it can be nowadays by combining it with an Ice Age and a Tempest Kick. And here's one more thing I'd like to say is if they did choose to do that, then I think you could get the stage back. Let me bring up the stage. Then I think you could get something like the stage back into play. If only characters, leaders, and stages did cost reduction, number one, I think it would still be very powerful, but it wouldn't be like totally insane to the extent of like Ice Age where it's like, okay, well, I'm just actually going to, oh, you just spent all last turn developing a Doflamingo, 10-cost Dofi, or 10-cost Linlin, or whatever 10-cost character, 10-cost Ace, you name it. 10-cost, I'm trying to think of one more, like 10-cost Shanks. Okay, well, that's nice and all, but I'm just going to swing for 5 with my leader. I'm going to -5 with the Ice Age, and then we're going to pop it with this Brooke. You know what I mean? Or pop it with a Shigan Finger Pistol or something like that. So, very, very interesting. Now, one thing we do have to take into consideration when we're looking at this stuff, too, is there has definitely been some power creep that's entered into the game. That's why I had this card up, and let me find the other one. Don't worry, we'll go back to them, and this one. So, guys, I mentioned this a long time ago. Houndblaze, let's do that one second. This card right here came out in OP02. Houndblaze came out in OP05. So just to kind of give an idea, a scale on which direction the game is moving, Bandai is trying to make it where there's more of a reason to run events. Because, guys, if you look at all the main decks, we're about to look at that in a second, like all the top decks right now, very, very limited events. Because I think it goes back to what I'm saying. Why would I run removal events when I have removal characters? So not only do they do removal like the events do, but they're also 1K counters potentially, or bodies, or whatever, whatever I need. Now, real quick, check this out, guys. In OP02, look at this card. This is a 2-cost Navy card, just like Houndblaze is a 2-cost Navy card. Main, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 1 or less. That's cute, right? Like, that's very cute. Because then, 3 sets later, we get Houndblaze. That is a 2-cost card. Navy searchable again, like I said. Up to one of your leader or characters gains plus 3,000 power during this turn. And then place a character with a cost of 2 or less at the bottom of the owner's deck. So it bottom decks, not bounce to hand, bottom decks it. The only thing that Meteor Volcano has over Hound Blaze is the trigger. And some people would disagree with that too. Like, draw 2, trash 1 is a strong trigger, but so is bouncing back your brand new or your, bouncing back your brand new or your Tashigi to your hand or something like that. So it's one of those things where you really have to really ask, like, okay, what's going on here? Hopefully they're able to figure it out soon, because it doesn't seem like it's on the same level, right? And I get it, this is a rare, but, oh, so is this. I was going to say, oh, this is a rare and this is a common. Wait, no, this is a rare as well, and so is a Hound Blaze. It's hard to say. A few more things I do want to show you guys for events. Let me get rid of the blue events for this. Get rid of these. There we go. Excuse me. One thing they've already decided to ban was this card, Great Eruption. I didn't think this card needed the ban, because I think I said back then, I said Tempest Kick will take the place of it. It immediately took the place of it, because they went over to Lucci, and then they had Tempest Kick for, all day, every day. And they kept Ice Age. They kept Ice Age. But having this cost reduction just on call, just like, I need to reduce their cost. Okay, I'll play this card from my hand that does it, and then, I can go from there. And when you have a card like Great Eruption and Tempest Kick that replace themselves, seems pretty good. I'm not trying to complain too much about that, but I actually think the bigger issue is the cost reduction being available in event form. I think that KO should have been available in event form, and then maybe the cost reduction should have been something on the board, something your opponent could play around. Well, maybe not, the leader you can't really play around. Same thing with the stage, so there is some, that's a little bit hazy. But having characters down like Brook, having characters down like Kuzan, Helmeppo, and the Hina, the 3-cost Hina, that's really cool. I think it's okay on there, but having removal on the actual characters themselves, I think what it ends up doing is it presents a little too much of a tempo shift during the game. And again, we're not trying to complain, guys. Understand? I always have to stress that we're not trying to complain. We're just trying to talk about some potential snags we might run into in the future, where it's like, well, why even run events? Why even run events if we're just going to run characters that do the same thing but better? Okay, so a few more cards I want to look at. Like, look at this, guys. This is a 3-cost that KOs a... Guys, why run Brook? Why run Brook, right? This is a 3-cost that pops a 2 or less. Activate main and trigger draw a card. Well, the answer is very obvious, right? The answer is very obvious, because this card you can't recycle, and this card is just a one-time use. But hey, it pops a 2 or less. Brook only pops a 1 or less. It's like, see, that's the thing. That's not necessarily what matters, because cards like this exist, right? Because a card like Ice Age exists, or at least it's still, like, legal, and the same thing with Tempest Kick. Well, now all of a sudden, Brook is popping a 1+1 plus 3. He's popping a 5. Or a 1 + 1 + 5, he's popping a 7. You see what I'm saying? And hopefully that made sense. If you guys have any questions, y'all tell me. Let's just please keep it peaceful down there. But that's just one of the examples I want to show. But imagine if this was a 3-cost card that popped a 5 or less. It's like, then all of a sudden people would be probably maybe running something like this. But then again, would they? Because look, this card exists. This is a 4-cost card that pops a 5 or less, and you get to mill 2 cards. The trigger does the same thing. These cards all exist for a specific reason, but when you have cards like Brook, like Lucci, that can be recycled, and their bodies, and their potentially 1K counters like this one, or 2K counters like with Who's Who, it becomes kind of, it seems rough. Whereas, like, some people might be asking, like, okay, well, Vivi, instead, you're saying that what we should be doing is having events that do the same thing. Well, what would the difference be? Well, the difference is massive, right? Because instead of me playing out a 3-cost character that pops a character and now I have a body on the board, if I had to play out a 3-cost event that popped a character, well, hey, I paid a card to remove your card. I still get to attack for the turn with my leader, but I feel like that's a little more of a balanced interaction. Hopefully that made sense, guys. All right, now, one more thing we're going to do before we move off of this topic of the day. I just want to kind of show you guys what I'm saying. Some people may have never noticed this, but this is, let me see something. Was this OP? This is OP08, I believe. Hang on, let me just make sure real quick. I just want to double check. I mean, we can check OP09 as well afterwards, but OP08, here we go. So let's just go straight down, just pick the first leader we see from each category. In L, it's just all characters, and then you have an event that actually makes sense worth running, right? In fact, I think most people are wondering, like, how this one was in the game in yellow. It's like, wait, that's like a card that, like, black should have had or something, a 6-cost card that pops anything, just like Red Rock, bottom decks anything. But hey, they gave it to yellow. You have to go down to 1 life. It is what it is. See, now this is what I'm talking about. This is worth running, and so it is run, right? Now, when it comes to all the other removal, it's just on a body. Like, you're just popping characters on a body. So it's like, well, then, yeah, why would I run... I don't know what's a 5-cost card that even pops a 5K character. I don't know, or a 5-cost character. I'm not sure. Like in yellow, I don't know if there is a event that pops. Thunderbolt. There you go. Why would I run Thunderbolt when I can literally run Nami? And people are going to say, oh, the cost. It's a three Dawn difference. It doesn't even matter, right? Because number one, the trigger is literally just a pop of 5 or less, right? It doesn't matter how much Dawn you have, and you could even trash a card and cycle a card if you need to, if your hand size is low enough. But otherwise, this is a 5 cost 5K with a 1K counter, guys. The card's absolutely incredible, and and don't get me wrong, guys. This is like my favorite card currently. I've made the comment before on Discord. This card right here might be single-handedly carrying Red Yellow Sabo currently. Like, not that Red Yellow Sabo is doing incredible, but what this card does is incredible. And it's actually like keeping Red Yellow Sabo, at least I think, like, you know, in the game a little bit. Some people might disagree, saying it's washed up right now, but we'll see. Hey, we'll see what happens in OP09. Right now, I'm just kidding. But seriously, hopefully you guys see what I'm saying. Gadatsu, again, this probably should have been a card that was like a 2 Dawn event that said what it says. It's like, oh wait, that is right. That is a 2 Dawn. It's called Bird Zap or something. Hang on a second. This one, there it is. Like, that makes sense. But here's my question: why would you run this card over Gadatsu? This Gadatsu is a 5 cost 6K body with a 1K counter with this effect built in. The only thing it has on it is, of course, this is only 2 Dawn, but again, you don't get to develop a character, and then it has the trigger to activate the main effect. So hey, guys, why isn't this an L that's just running that? And again, I think the answer is obvious. I'm not trying to be too, like, you know, disrespectful or like disingenuous or anything here, whatever the technical word is for it. I'm just trying to be honest with you guys. Why would you run removal on a event if you just have it for the characters? And then what ends up happening, see, like, this is a very good event. It is a defensive event. And the defensive events, I think Bandai nailed it. I think the defensive events that Bandai put out, I think they absolutely nailed it. Or at least most of them. Not some aren't as good, but like one like this is like really solid. Especially that trigger might be a little too strong, but you guys get my point. It's a 0 cost 3K, seems good. Now let's move on to another list, like Doflamingo. Let's see what. Hey, I wonder how many events he runs. Okay, this is. Let me go to the one that just did really well by Jackson Huang. Okay, this is a 9-0 list. Running Doflamingo, and oh, it looks like they're doing exactly what I said. By the way, I didn't even realize that. Look, yeah, why would I run Gravity Blade Raging Tiger? I'll just run this card. I'm just going to run this card, and I'll just bounce on curve. Yeah, 4 Josus, absolutely. 4 Trafalgar Laws, and 1 Doflamingo. Why would I run the events that bounce when I could just bounce my characters? Again, I hate to sound like a broken record. That's something I really want to lay into thick there, guys. I really want you guys to know what I'm saying there. All right, I don't want to rant about this too much. Tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. Let's at least end off in this way. So again, the topic of the day is how should they balance removal when it comes to removal on bodies versus removal on events. What do you guys think? Is it balanced as is, or do you think it should be like what I'm saying, where it's like, okay, too many bodies have removal, why run the events? Number 2, so that's the first topic. Then like a subtopic under that, is cost reduction good for the game in forms like Ice Age, Tempest Kick, and Great Eruption? Okay, all right. Keep it civil, guys. Please, no fighting out there. You know, no fights down there. I'll bring out the bouncers and stuff. We'll bounce people out of there. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, now let's move on. I do need to remove this and this because we're gonna now check out Reiju. And since we're already on here, should I show the list? I am at least gonna show the list real quick so that way we can hop straight to at the end. I called it not Reiju or something like that. Y'all give me just a second. We'll find it. Here it is. Reiju. No, I don't see it. It's, oh gosh. It's going to take me a second to find it. I called it like Animal Kingdom Pirates Reiju. There it is. Not Reiju. There it is. Okay, so here's what we're running today, guys. Let me take this all off real quick so we can just get straight into the games. So this is the list we're running today. So keep that in mind. I did make a few slight revisions here and there, but just to give you an idea of what we're going into, let's do this, guys. Pause it and check it out for a second if you want to. Now we're going to get into the games. Okay, so first things first here, we got a game against Red Blue Marco. All right, man. I've been seeing a lot of Marco play lately. Volume is off. Speed is on 2x. I'm going to take a sip of my water, guys, and then I'm going to, we'll hop back to it here. I'm going to play the game, and then just give me 1 second. Okay, check. We're good. So, didn't miss much. This deck doesn't really take off until like turn 2 or 3. Really, actually, really like 3 or 4, I should say. That was a nice top deck, so we could. But oh, never mind. We don't even need that. So we're gonna swing for 5 here. Real quick, did I go? Speed is 2x. Yep, sounds off. We're good. So that is a great card. That is a great combo in this deck right there. I can develop 2 bodies and draw a card, which is really nice with the ulti plus page 1 combo. It's acting up again, guys. Look at that thing. It keeps acting up. There we go. Move my mouse over here so it doesn't keep activating that bottom part. Okay, so he swung for 5, swung for 6. We're just kind of... wait. What just happened? I'm sorry, guys. I got a little bit distracted. Okay, so here we go. So 5 in the face. He gives me a 1k counter. 6 and a 6. He lets it go. I would have blocked. I would have at least blocked because I'm trying to just play out a 5-cost character. I'm like, hey, thanks for helping me out. Play out the queen, which ends up being a draw 3, trash 1. Absolutely incredible in Reiju. And it's a blocker, of course. And let's see what they do. I think the right call here is probably to get rid of the queen. Because I don't need these other characters. I mean, yeah, they are annoying. But hey, he doesn't even go for my other characters? That's crazy, guys. You got to go for the board. Excuse me. You have to go for the board. So my opponent is on 3, 6, 7. There's actually a good reason to play out the Magellan here, but I don't think I do. I think I keep on the pressure here when I should have played out the Magellan. Okay, we'll go ahead and play out the king. We'll pop that, draw a card from it, and guess what? Swing 5, swing 5, swing 6. You guys guessed it. We're going in. We're just trying to beat them down. They're countering out extremely aggressively. They play out the Sanji, playing out the Newgate. This is what I was saying. This is why I actually should have played out the Magellan last turn. That was a mistake. That was an absolute play mistake. Not going for my board, I feel like was a play mistake too, but at the same time, that's okay. We get out of it with the 0-cost 3k. And right now, I have, you guys see that Sasaki card in my hand? That is a 3-cost, 4,000 power, 1k counter. On play, Dawn -1, draw a card. So in this deck, it is a draw 2. Very, very powerful for getting back in the game when we need to. I don't think we'll need it this game, but it is a very, very strong card to get when you need to draw some cards. It's almost like this version. It's Reiju for Animal Kingdom Pirates in Reiju, the leader. As funny as that is. So 8 into 8, it goes away. That means they have no counter power. That is crazy. They had no counter power there, guys. Maybe that's why. Well, no, like I said, they countered out so aggressively early on. Okay, I have a blocker. They're going to get rid of the blocker, and now they have 3 attacks. We might have to just take this 10 into 7. Okay. So I think I do need to probably protect this character, but this is going to be the toughest decision of the game for me. Do I save this character? If they attack into it for 10, I'm going to probably lose it the next attack with the Sanji. So I'm like, you know what, though? That way I will only have to take 1 hit to face here if I counter out. So I do that. I go 2k, 1k, 1k to make it seem like I don't have any more 2ks. Yep. And then he goes 9 into 6. It's like, wait a minute, dude. I don't know if that was the best call, leaving that character alive. But okay, they let that go. They draw 2. My turn. And guys, I think it's just time to go face. Face is the place. So swing 6, swing 7. And do you guys know what that card does in my hand? The 7-cost card in my hand? Let's see what they do here. Now, if they counter out, we can just put down a blocker and go about things that way. Gravity Blade, Raging Tiger. I don't know what's going on. We're going to swing for 8. GG. So that card in my hand, there is a 7-cost, 8,000 power king that has rush. As long as your opponent has 5 or more life or 5 or more Dawn. So really solid card there. Okay, that was the first game versus Red Blue Marco. Next up, we have the game of Red Purple Luffy. Okay, we got a game versus Red Purple Luffy. Speed 2x. Let me go full screen. There we go. And guys, this is just a fun deck to play. I'm not going to lie, guys. We'll talk about the deck list again at the end, like normal. But this deck list is so fun to play. So they play out a Tony Chopper here. They're at 2 life, or excuse me, they're at 2 Dawn. We were at 1, so they don't get to ramp a Dawn. We're going to play out the Black Maria here, just in case. Because I would like to ramp up to my opponent's Dawn count, since it's Red Purple Luffy, if I have to. Because, guys, this deck does do quite a bit of... hang on one second. Did I do the effect? I'm sorry, one second, guys. So I play out the... So real quick, one thing I could have done there is played out the Black Maria and used the effect to draw a card. But I did want to be able to play out a 5-cost card on curve. So that's why I didn't use the effect right then for the Black Maria. But I technically could have used the effect to go back down to 2 Dawn and draw a card. But like I said, we want to go up to 5. So we're at 5 Dawn now. I think it's time to start punishing our opponent with the Magellan here. Boom, we're going to pop one of their Dawn. We're going to get to draw a card from that. And their turn. They're down to 5 Dawn. That is a nightmare for Red Purple Luffy, right? They're trying to ramp. He must have got the worst pull possible for like ramp cards. And he's going to use Queen this early on to go down. Oh my goodness. Guys, this is a nightmare, like I said. 6 into 5. I do have a 2K we're going to give him here. I don't want to take too many hits early on because their attacks late game are massive. We play out the Trafalgar Law. We pop 2 cards out of their hand. One was a Newgate. Seems good. We're going to swing in for 6. They 2K counter out. And I think we're going to swing in for 6 more maybe and play out a... either sit on a Blast Breath or play out a Who's Who. Yeah, we'll do a top 5 search for Who's Who. Or with Who's Who. And we'll grab a... probably a... I like the 2K counter. Yeah, we already have a Blast Breath. We have a 0 cost 3K. We're in a very good spot this game. Like, my hand looks really good right now. My hand looks really solid. I would like to incorporate the some blue... what are they called? Blue Animal Kingdom Pirates cards into the deck at some point. But I don't know which ones to add. Maybe ulti or something. Maybe the 4 cost ulti or something like that. Nice. I get the event there. Trigger. I ramp a Dawn. 2,000 into 2,000 there. Very easy. We'll go 6 into 6. They take it. 6 into 6. They give me a 1K counter. And then I think we're going to play out the king here. Ramp a Dawn. Or excuse me, go back a Dawn to ramp a draw a card. Guys, I can't even think right now. And I ended up playing out this Black Maria to pretty much for absolutely no reason, guys. I ended up not really not needing to use it at all. But hey, I guess it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it, right? That is kind of the mindset there. I expected him to ramp very aggressively. He did not do that. He did not do that. Okay, so King gets a free attack, 8 into 8 here. That is so nice about that card. That card is nice, guys. That King is a really solid card. So 8 into 8, he has to give me a card in some way here, whether it be a character, a card from hand, or a card from life. They give me a card from hand. So now I can swing in for 8 more with the Magellan. They gave me a card from life. And we're going to play out Queen, do a little draw 3, trash 1 action with a leader effect, and pass the turn. 2, 4, 8. Okay, I have 8 Dawn, so I was going to say, why didn't I use the Black Maria? I didn't need to. We're good. 10 into 5. Okay. So right here, oh, I remember this game. I remember this game, guys. I went down to 0 life. What if he has a Diable Jambe? Wouldn't that be crazy? He may or may not have a Diable Jambe. Swing for 15. We're fine. +4, +3, or +2, actually. +2, +3. We're fine. Get out of that. We still had 2, 4, 6K counter in hand, guys. We had 6K counter left in hand. We were fine. How funny is that? So he ends up just quitting out when I was trying to do a little bit of math there. I was going to swing in for some decent numbers. It was going to be, I think at first it was just going to be swing 6. I think it was going to be swing 6, 6, 8, 8, whatever's left. I think that was my what I was going to try to do there, which would have been 6 would have got 1K out of hand, 6 would have got another 1K out of hand, and then 6 would have got the blocker, and then 8 and 8 would have got through for life and whatever, something like that. I can't remember what I was trying to do there, but I felt pretty good about that one. I felt like we were at a pretty good spot. Okay. Actually, I probably would have swung for just more than that, right? It probably would have been like swing for 10 or something. Who knows? I don't remember, guys. We got there. They ended up giving up. At that point, though, I don't think they should have, because what if I messed up on the math? I don't think they should have quit there, because if I had swung 8 first on the king, yeah, that's what would have done. If I swung 8 first with the king, that would have probably made him, just immediately give up or something. Who knows? Y'all tell me what y'all think in the comment section below. All right, next up we have a game versus Smoker. Okay, Smoker. This deck is pretty serious now, guys. Smoker's pretty good now. Pretty good since OP08.5, since ST19. Sengoku, they get a perfect start to fill up their trash and draw the cards they want, do some cycling, develop a body on the board. Not a crazy body, but yeah. Still a body nonetheless. Good for taking out searchers and things like that. And who knows, later in the game, it could be you could attach 5 Dawn and swing with it, or 4 Dawn and swing for 5. You never know. We're going to play out the page 1 here. We didn't really have a great play. I could have played out the Trafalgar Law just to Dawn -1 to draw a card, but I don't want to go too far down in Dawn right now. I want to get up. I want my Dawn to go up a little bit at first. Okay, but now I'm about to be on a 6 Dawn turn. Let's see what they do. It depends on what they're going to do here. So right here, I think I should swing first. See if they want to give me a card from hand. Okay, well now I'm just going to pop this with a king. Very nice. So what was the idea? What was the logic there, guys? So this was the idea. If they had taken that hit there from my Reiju attack, I would have punished them with the blocker law. I would have hit them with blocker law. They'd have been at 7 cards in hand, and then I could have still drawn a card and had more Dawn to play with for the turn. Really good stuff there. But because they didn't, we just go ahead and pop the Rebecca with the king and draw a card from the effect from Reiju, and then, you know, swing. All right, guys, Sakazuki. Haven't seen that card in a minute. He's gonna swing for 6 into 7, or 6 into 6. We are gonna 1K counter out of that to get to 7. And let's see what we do here. Guys, this page 1 is just putting in work right now. Page 1 is just beating my opponent down. Swing for 6, swing for 6, play out Magellan. There goes their what's it called? Gecko on curve, right? Actually, no, I think they're still at 8. 4, 8. Yeah, never mind. They are still at 8. Okay, swinging in for 5. We do need to kind of respect these bigger attacks here. We 1K counter out. They punish with an E-show. Seems good. They're going to swing for 7 into 6 here. Well, I lost some counter power there, but we're still going to blast breath to save it. Okay, that's their whole turn. And let's see what we do here. We only have 7 Dawn. We've been using our leader effects and our Dawn minus effects very frequently, right? So we'll go in for 6. Again, guys, I've hit them for 6 so many times, they're losing all their counter power. For this deck, yeah, look at that. They're having to give me 1Ks now. Seems good. We'll play that out, or swing for 7. They take it, play out the queen, draw 2, trash 1, and then draw another one with the leader effect. And we're in a very good spot now. And we've got Rush King in our hand. That card is really nice, guys. That Rush King card, it was actually probably my favorite card from testing this deck. Because it's like a draw card, too. It's like a 7-cost AK that draws a card and smashes in. And going into OP09, there might be some kind of idea to run like the 9-cost Luffy as well and try to make something out of that. We'll see. Okay, they're going to swing 9 into 6. Yep, you can have it. I just need like 2 attacks to be able to survive here, or to be able to try to win here. Okay. Give him a 2K, 1K. Plays out Borsellino. I don't like that. I don't like that. We only have 8 Dawn to work with here. Can we make it work? And in my mind, I'm thinking, you know what? We're going to go for the 6s again. I got all those 2K counters out of his hand earlier. Maybe this is the way to go. That was greedy. Going 6 there. We're swinging it for 6 more. They take it. Playing out king. Swinging for 8. Let's see what they have in their hand. Nothing. They only had those 2 1K counters, guys. So, actually, and the Kobe they probably got for the from that last attack. But yeah, that was a nightmare situation. They should have just gave me the Borsellino. They got a little bit greedy, in my opinion, to counter out. But it might not have mattered anyway. Actually, I think it would have mattered. Because if they had just taken the first hit to go down to 0 and they still have the blocker, I think that was the best way to do it. Because then they could have gotten out of the 6K attack from the queen without even having to use the blocker. Then they could have used the blocker for the AK king attack coming in. But hey, who expects king to come in? Like, I don't have 10 Dawn, or excuse me, 9 Dawn. They weren't expecting Kaido because I couldn't play it. So king, that's a whole different ball game. All right, we got 2 more games, guys. We got a game versus Nami. Got a game versus Nami. And guys, with this the version of the deck that I'm running, I think I draw as many cards as Nami does. It's one of those games where I can draw as many cards as Nami does. I can't mill as many cards, but drawing, it's crazy. Look, draw 2, trash 2. Hey, I've got to draw 3, trash 1 in this deck with queen, you know? Every one of my cards draws a card. Yeah, it's pretty fun. I'm not going to lie. This is a very fun deck to play, guys. I'm not going to lie. So who's who? We're going to do some searching here. I'm just trying to find big bodies. Okay, ulti's going to be really nice next turn because I can play that out to fill out the board. But let's see what happens here. So 3 Dawn turn for my opponent. What are they going to do? They're going to play out the Marguerite. So I'm going to swing for 5. It'll probably get it right away because they have no Dawn. So I'm swinging early on because they have 0 Dawn. They can't trash cards from their deck. They give me a 2K counter. Seems good. We'll play out the ulti, cheating out the page 1. Draw a card from that. We get the 5-cost Captain Kidd. And now it's my opponent's turn. They saw just fluff, pass it right back. And I need to keep curving out this game. Like, I'm actually going to swing early this game, guys. Swing 5, swing 6, and develop a 5-cost body. I will say this, guys. Before, I thought it was a good idea to just, like, go wide first before even attacking into Nami. But Nami has so much static card draw now just by playing out bodies like Margaret, Gloriosa, Kaya. They have so much card draw now just, like, by playing bodies down that are also blockers. Even a lot of people are running Boodle, I think his name is. He's like a 2-cost blocker on KO, mill a card. I think we have to just get aggressive now against Nami. So we're going to swing lots of 6s here to play around anything like a white snake. We'll go 6s here all day. Love Beam. I don't think he did that right. Did he? Did he do that Love Beam correctly? Hang on 1 second. Yeah, he has 5 cards in hand. He used the Love Beam here, so he didn't get a draw card from it. So we're going to swing 6s just all day. Play out the queen, draw two, trash one, and then draw one again, and get a Dawn back for the Captain Kid here. I'll leave 1 Dawn active just in case. If he tries to go for one of my characters, I'll just counter out of it immediately. Okay, so we're in really good shape now, guys, and we're getting our Dawn back with the Eustace Kid. We're in a very good shape. That was pretty good. He bottom decked 2 of my characters there with the Gravity Blade Raging Tiger, but that's his entire turn. And that's why, another reason why we have to attack, because they might bottom deck your characters now. They might be running Gravity Blade Raging Tigers to deal with all these Dofi decks. They might be running it to deal with whatever people are playing now. So we're going to swing in for 5. This should either get a 2K counter out of hand or a life card. We'll take it. Smash in again. And guys, we have the ulti page 1 combo to follow up if we need it. Looks like we're going to go queen. Yep. Okay. Yep. Draw 2, trash 1, and then we'll draw another one. And then we'll play out the ulti. Another Dawn -1, cheating out the page 1. And my board is full again, and we're ready to go next turn. We're ready to go really, really crazy next turn. I've got 3 6Ks and then 3 5Ks on the board. 9 into 5. You're not getting that. You give him the 2K with the blocker. Easy peasy. And now... All right, so you only have 5 Dawn now, right? Or excuse me, 6. You only have 6 Dawn to work with now. Here we go. We're going to go all these 6s here at first. And we're going to slowly work up into the bigger stuff as they use more and more Dawn. So 6 into 7, they use Desert Spotted to get out of that. They're trying to set their top 3 cards. Okay, we're going to go in for 6 more. They Love Beam. 6 more. They just had to give me a Gum Giant Gavel. There's still 22 cards left in their deck, guys. Like, that's how fast this game has been. We're only on turn 6, guys. We're only on turn 6. 6, they give me a Snake Dance. We're going to hit him for 6 there. Okay, whatever that was. Swing in there. And then I think we're just going to replace... okay, they just did a bunch there. And now we're just going to replace one of these guys with a Eustace Captain Kid. And we still have plenty of counter power. They can't even get rid of one of our guys. Unless they use removal. Unless they use Gravity Blade Raging Tiger or something like that. Okay, Sanji's pull off. They're getting a little bit lower. I think they're down to about 16 cards left in deck or something like that. Play out the Margaret. And it's go time, guys. It's go time. So right here, we're going to go for 7s. We're just going to close out 7s here. They counter out of the last one instantly. What has he got? Let's see what he's got. 7s here. They have 14 cards left in their deck, guys. They're in a very rough situation here. All right, some 7s here, and then I think we're going to go really big for the last 2 attacks. So we go 7, and then we'll go like 8 and 8 or something like that. Yep, 8. Yep, okay, pause. I could have just gone everything on that character, to be honest, but oh well. Just 8 and 8 we got there. Seems good. That was a fun one. Going really wide, really quickly like that against Nami and keeping on the pressure early on, it worked out pretty well. Okay, last game we got against Green-Black Perona. Guys, we got a game versus Green-Black Perona. Speed, 2x, volume's off, we're good to go. Notice the card I have in my hand here. I did put in Pudding towards the end. I think I replaced the 5-cost Kid with Pudding. Maybe? I can't remember. But my logic was, okay, this is now my early turn character. Like, I need this thing down so I can start ramping Dawn early. But, of course, the game I play against is going to be against Perona, where they just rested and KO'd immediately. Oh, well, it happens. Nothing to lose sleep over. We'll play out the X-Drake and hit a card from their hand. I draw a card from it. They lose a card from it. Seems good. And, yeah, their turn. See, we would be back up to 5 Dawn. We would have been back up to 5 Dawn if that Pudding would have survived. -2, tap it down, pop it with X-Drake. Yep, par for the course right now. You know, this is to be expected for this deck. I do think I need to counter out pretty aggressively here. I don't want to go too low too early on, because this version I'm running is not running a lot of... I'm not running any of the 9-cost Linlands, and we'll talk about that at the end, like what cards maybe to add from here to make it a little bit better. Okay, playing out King, popping the Ryuma, swinging for 5. And, yeah, we're drawing cards like crazy, guys. We're drawing cards like crazy, but we also are up against the ropes, guys, because Perona has a much better late game than we do, probably. I guess it's debatable. It depends what they're running. But typically speaking, their late game is insane. Like, look at this, dropping these cards that are... And look at a Jack was in hand. He pops this guy by trashing the Jack with playing out the Sabo. Swing for 6. Probably going to get out of this because I can easily. Swing for 5. I think I should get out of that as well. Okay. So right here, I think we're going to go 6 into 6. Okay. Let's see if he counters out. Because if he counters out, I think I should punish him. Okay, I was going to say, if he had countered out there, I think I should have punished him with the X-Strike. Make him trash the last card in his hand. It could have been like a Gecko or something. You never know. That'd have been pretty cool. Then he's in full on top deck mode. Okay, this game's far from over. We're not exactly in a good position. And considering how this game is, like, we might actually have to go face here. Like, we might have to start going really aggressive, not even try to win the board. Okay, swing for 9. We don't like that. We'll have to take that one. Swing for 7. We do have a 0-cost 3K. I think we can give him here. Or just 2K, 2K. Okay. I think I like going the 0-cost 3K, trashing a king. But maybe I was trying not to show it. I was probably trying to not show him that I had king. So we'll go 3 into 5. Or 5 into 3, rather. It'd be crazy. It would have been crazy if he tried to survive that. Or, excuse me, trying to, you know, get around that. Save it. Okay, so queen here, draw 2, trash 1, draw 1 because of leader effect. Swing for 8. I need to get his life down so I can try to sneak lethal with my 7-cost king card. But easier said than done, guys. Easier said than done. We're not in a good position right now. Look at their board compared to ours. That's all I'm saying. We're going to have to literally sneak a lethal attack against them at this point. Okay. Oh, did I forget to put on 2x speed? No, we're good. Okay, Hina. Not a card I wanted to see. -3 to my guy. Let's see what they do from there. They still have 7 Dawn. Like, are they going to maybe play out a Jack? Nope, they're not going to play out Jack. 13 into that. Yep, you can have it. I guess they're trying to just go as wide as they can right now. Swinging for that much. We'll take it. Oh, man. This is not good, guys. This is not good at all. Okay. So I'm trying to do a little bit of math. I'm like, wait a minute. If I take this, I have to go for it next turn. Or develop double blockers or something. I don't even know what. That guy's gone. How are we going to get out of this, guys? How are we going to get out of this? We're going for 5. They give me a 2K. We'll play out the queen. Draw 2, trash 1. Trashing any card that doesn't have a counter, it's out of here. Any card with no counters, out of here. Draw 2, trash 1 again with a queen. So we end up drawing 5 cards and trashing 2. And developing 2 bodies. And we'll be back up to 10 Dawn next turn anyway. So here we go, guys. I have to just block. I have to get out of 1, 2. I can block 2 attacks, theoretically, if he has no cost reduction to tap a queen down. And then I have to get out of all these attacks, guys. This is going to be a nightmare. Plays out Helmeppo. Okay. Going to tap down that guy. Sure. He should attack into it just to make sure it can't block next turn. Right, guys? He should just attack into it. We're in so much trouble right now. We're in so much trouble right now. Swing for 11. Okay, so I have to do a little bit of math right here. It's like, okay, if I block this hit, it will force him to go all in with the other guy. That was my logic, at least. That was my logic. 15, I'm like, all right, perfect. My favorite. We'll get out of this with 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. Okay, got out of that. Swinging for 6. Well, we got 2K right here. And then swing for 5. Okay, we got 1K right here. Guys. That was outrageous, I'm going to be honest. So now we can swing 7, 7, 8. He either has it or he doesn't. He either has it or he doesn't. That's all there is to it. So I'm like, all right, swing 7. I'll go with the character first, just in case he's got Shigan finger pistol in there or something. Swing for 7. And here we go. Swing in for 8. Let's see what he's got. He only could get to 7. That was wild, guys. That game was absolutely insane. Very close one. Very close game. One of the closer games I think I've ever had. But that was a very fun matchup. Okay, that's why I absolutely love that king card, guys. That card is insanely good. Being able to sneak wins. This card right here, guys. Where is it? This one. Like, this card right here, guys. Excellent. Absolutely incredible. It's searchable with our Animal Kingdom Pirates guide, the Who's Who Searcher. And, yeah, it just does what we need it to. Now, one thing I do want to consider. Okay, hear me out. Let me bring up animal. Will that work? Let me see something for purple. Sort of. But the card I really want to... let me just bring up events. Hang on. Let's let the purple cards come in. Give me just 1 second, guys. What I was going to say was I'm really, really considering replacing the Who's Who with the event searcher that can get the Big Mom Pirates cards. There's an event searcher. It costs 1. It's like this one, but it's for Animal Kingdom Pirates. Where is it? I just know I'm going... here it is. We're going to claim the One Piece. So if your leader has the Big Mom Pirates, the Animal Kingdom Pirates or Big Mom Pirates type, look at 5 cards from the top of your from the top of your deck and reveal 1 Animal Kingdom Pirates or Big Mom Pirates type card, probably other than this card, and add it to your hand or something like that. I'm not sure. But then trigger activates the mana as well. Then we can actually search up Pudding. We can search up this Pudding. We actually can search up 2 relevant cards. And then we can add the 9-cost Charlotte Linlin. And I think that would probably make the deck be a little bit stronger for the late game. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. But I do think there's some potential there. So in other words, what I'm suggesting is we would go down 4 Who's Who's. And we'd go up 4 of the Event Searcher. And then we would have to fit in like 2 or 3 Charlotte Linlins, I feel like. So maybe we go down 1 king so that there's only 2 of them, and then down 1 of these kings so there's 3 of these, and then we can add in 3. No, that's still only 2. Well, maybe that's what we do it for. So maybe we go down 1 king, and then go up 2 of these. Whoops, did 3. Maybe something along these lines, or even another option is we can go down 1 Blast Breath and go up the Charlotte Linlin. Maybe something like that. I do like having the 4 Gum Gum Jet Gatlings, even though this is one of the few cards you cannot search in the entire deck. There's only 2 cards you can't search in this deck if we run the Event Searcher. This one right here. Like, if we run 4 like this, the only thing we would not be able to search up with this card is this one, the Gum Gum Jet Gatling, and the Magellan. This is an Impel Down card. So that's it. That's honestly it. So maybe we even go down to 3 Magellans and go back up 1 of these kings. I don't know. We'll have to see. I will actually do that right now, to be honest, though, just for now, just to kind of show off in the video. Because this probably makes more sense. But then again, oh, that's such a tough call, man. That's such a tough call. No, I like the Magellan better. I'm not going to lie. I think the Magellan's a little bit better. Number 1, we might accidentally search over when we don't want to. So if we have 4, we'll have another chance to get it later, a better chance. But other than that, you know, this king card is good, but I think only 1 a game is what we need. Same thing with this king card. Whereas Charlotte Linlin, if we could just start chaining these late game, think about how strong Charlotte Linlin is in this deck. Okay, Dawn -1, so we're going to draw a card, right? So we have to trash 1 card from our hand, add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life, then place up to 1 of your opponent's characters with a cost of 6 or less on the top or bottom of their life face up. So what we could do is we could actually play this card out for 9, and we'll trash a card, but then we're going to draw the card. We're going to draw a card right back with the effect from the leader, and then we're going to bounce a 6 or less out of the way, and we're going to gain a life. So I do think that this is probably a card that we should add going forward, especially if we're going to go down this path of playing out the, we're going to claim the One Piece for the top 5 searcher for AKP and BMP. But we didn't get to see the Charlotte Pudding in action, but at the same time, you know, we already know what this card does. So, all right, I'm done, guys. That's it. These videos have been running extra long now that we've added the topic of the day, because it's me just like ranting for like 20 minutes about a certain topic. But hopefully you guys are enjoying those. Those have been very enjoyable for me to do. They're very fun. You guys know I like to yap. You guys know I like to yap. All right, big shout out to everybody who supports the channel, guys. Hey, guys, if you're liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting, viewing, whatever you're doing to help the channel out, I really appreciate it. Hey, I have an affiliate link on TCG Player in my channel description. If you're buying cards, if you're buying singles or whatever on TCG Player, please don't forget to use that. That helps me out big time as well. Big shout out to everybody who's bought the playmats. I hope you guys are really enjoying those. And then last but not least, the patrons, of course. Thank you to everybody who supports the channel just by donating, trying to help me out. I really do appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. All right, guys, hope you all enjoyed. Please do not forget to like and subscribe. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please do not hesitate to put them in the comment section below. And yeah, until next time, guys, peace.